Okay, I'm recording, so here we go. Holy cow, these 4 chapters. Anybody feeling a little overwhelmed? Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, so good, but like, how do I start, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's start with chapter 5. She talked about like how I talked my way to 7 figures, and you can too. So for me, I'm very extroverted, and I talk to people all day long, and that doesn't even faze me. But I'm sure that there are several of you on here or that will be watching the recording that were like, wow, like I have to talk to thousands of people. And also, we're going to coach people. So even if you are an extroverted person and you're like, well, I can talk to people all day, no big deal. Like I'm thinking Deb and Ashley, Martin, like I know you guys can talk to people all day long and never even blink an eye. But the other side is we're going to coach people as our teams grow that it's very uncomfortable for them to have thousands of conversations. So I just kind of want to address that side of it, that if you're like, well, I'm an introvert, or I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. I don't get out of my house very often. I don't know, like, how am I supposed to have thousands of conversations? Or maybe you just work a lot and you're like, outside of my work, once I've tapped my work market, now what? And so I just want to speak to that yes, in-person conversations are great, but they don't have to be face-to-face. So some of you are much better behind a computer or behind a phone and sending text messages and connecting people to that way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, as long as you are actually connecting. We don't just want to be like sending message after message with zero connection. But I don't think there's anything wrong with connecting with people from a computer or from a phone. So just kind of wanted to put that out there because I felt like some people might be like, how am I supposed to do that? That being said, I would encourage you that when given the opportunity to actually have these conversations face-to-face, get a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and only you know your comfort zone. So I can tell Ashley to get outside. Ashley would probably have to talk to like 200 people to be outside of her comfort zone because I know that girl can talk and is super comfortable. She's very honest. She'll tell you how it is, and conversations don't really scare her. So her comfort zone and Jessica's comfort zone may be different. I don't know where you're at, but get outside of your comfort zone, whatever that is. Okay, so a couple things. I have some questions written down for chapter 5 that I wanted to kind of see how you guys are feeling. So a couple of things that just stuck out to me in like those first couple of paragraphs was the word consistency and just being consistent with reaching out and talking to people. You can't like go out and say, okay, I'm going to talk to everybody in week 1. That's my goal for the month. And then just shut down for 3 weeks and then jump back into it. Okay. So you have to be consistent in your conversations and consistently talking to people, consistently putting in the time and the work. Okay, so how do you guys feel about talking to people about Plexus? Like, go ahead, share. What are your feelings when it comes to talking about Plexus?
I sometimes feel like people might think I'm trying to shove it down their throats.
Okay. I would recommend, this is like just coming to me, jot down some of your thoughts, because these are going to be huge things that you have to address and work through. Because as Deb says that, if she feels like she's shoving it down people's throats, or she feels that people may feel that way, well, I wouldn't want to talk to people if I thought they were feeling that way about me. So right there, that is going to be a huge roadblock for Deb, and I'm sure other people have that same thought. So like jot down how you feel. Like when you think I've got to talk to people, what's the first thing that's like kind of holds you back? Because we need to address that. If we can't get past it, we're stuck at this spot, and you don't need to read past chapter 5. Like, just stop here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's very valid. I think a lot of people probably feel that way, and I think it's natural. I think that just, it comes down to mindset. Like, and we've got to train our minds that we're not shoving it down people's throat. We are sharing our experiences so that other people can have similar experiences or find freedoms from things that we have found freedoms from. And if you truly go into it, I like to use it comparing to Jesus. Like, okay, Jesus saves a lot more than Plexus does, but like, it's the same idea. If we never shared Jesus with anybody, like, heaven would be empty. Like, it would be a lonely place if we didn't share. And so along those same lines, if we don't share what Plexus does, and she's going to go on further, she talks about how to have the conversations. But if we aren't willing to share, people are never going to hear about these products. They're not advertised. We are the advertisement. Yeah. What other thoughts? Like, how do you guys feel about talking to people?
I know for me, like, kind of going along with what Deb said, but it's the whole, like, just prejudging what their response is going to be, good, bad, or indifferent. And then, like, learning to accept that and not place your success or your worth in what their response is. That is something that I hugely struggle with.
Yeah. And I think, is that like chapter 7 or?
I probably am just jumping around. I don't know.
It's one of these chapters coming up. I know we read about that, but yes. So, I mean, these are all super valid things that people feel regularly and are normal. I think you have to kind of address the elephant in the room and say, this is what's making me nervous. This is what's stopping me from having the conversation. Now that I know what it is, I can take these steps to work through that.
Yeah.
To get to your why. To get to, why are you spending the time on a Monday night at 8:30 on a call to better yourself if you're not going to take the steps to go forward? So, and that's something that just kept coming up. Guys, we can read all the books, all of them. If you're not willing to step outside of your box and put this stuff into place, it's not going to change. So we've got to start like, okay, I read the book. What am I going to do this next week? And we'll kind of end with that, but just some food for thought. Okay, now these rules. These rules to me are like brilliant. There's a lot of them. So instead of going through each one of them, what I'd like to get is some feedback as to what's one that stuck out to you, like, yes, that's the rule I needed. That is going to help me. We're on page 71 if you have your books and you want to kind of look through the rules again.
There's a couple for me. The less is more. And don't leave rambling voicemails. They're kind of related. and my nervousness of, and did I tell you about blah, 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 and then this and that and this and that coupled with inaction because I can't find just the right thing to send them. So it all focuses on just do it and do it short.
Yeah. And you get better. The more you do it, the better you get. I mean, we call it like vomiting Plexus. I vomited a lot of Plexus when I started because you want to tell them everything because it's so amazing. And then people are like, whoa, I don't even have cancer, but she just told me it was going to cure my cancer. Like, what's happening?
Back to 10 years, yeah.
So, yes, I agree. Those are good ones.
Well, I got a little tickled because she said, you don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to do it right. I made mistakes, but then here's 14 rules. It's like, whoa, I'm not going to do it perfect now.
You're certainly not. And I think these are good rules just to kind of visit every once in a while as you're like working through it, because you learn as you go. And the best way to learn is by starting the conversations. And who knows, someone you messed up with in a conversation still may buy, or they may buy from you 2 years down the road. You don't know.
Well, at the risk of being a hog here, what's the thought about your thought, everybody's thoughts about, she's leading with the business. She's very strong on that. And that's not how we do it necessarily.
Yeah. So I've definitely gone back and forth on my thoughts on this. Leading with the business is definitely going to give you more business builders, for sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, hands down. You cannot get people on your team working the business if you do not offer it. I mean, it's going to be a slower process. I shouldn't say you can't, but it's going to be a much slower process if you don't lead with the business. I think the way she leads with the business is pretty smart in that she's pointing out why it's going to benefit them. Mm-hmm. And that's Rule 12, like what's in it for them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's genius. You're genuinely caring for somebody. You're not just saying, join my team because I need business builders. You're saying, join my team because this is what it could do for you. I think that it is really great to start here and then end up here too. Like, oh, you don't want that? Well, have you ever thought about a probiotic? I think in leading with the business, you have to be prepared for a lot of no's. And some people aren't ready for a lot of no's, and it would defeat them in their business. And so I think that probably comes back to your personality type and maybe like an Enneagram type. What number are you? I don't want to say can you handle no's, because we can all handle it. It's not like
what color are you?
Yeah. Your yellows are going to be defeated by no after no after no after no. Someone like myself, I can brush off the no a lot easier, and so it doesn't affect me. So I shouldn't say it doesn't affect me. It affects me less. So I would just say know yourself, because certainly being defeated day in and day out is not where we want you to be.
I think it definitely opens, like for me, it opened my eyes more hearing that she leads with the business, just to be more conscious of, because I'm a yellow, so no's, like depending on how severe they are, they can really hurt me. And I know that not everybody's going to do this, but it opened my eyes to like maybe thinking and seeing more people that could truly benefit from this business. Yeah. In terms of like kind of going into the WIFT, like what's in it for them, using those pain points. Like if they're struggling to make ends meet and there's somebody that is confiding in you about that, and you have this awesome opportunity that could help them, but you're fearful of like what they're going to think, or, you know, how they're going to interpret that. And are you just trying to make a sale? But yet you still have that, you have to be careful not to prejudge that aspect of it. But when she was talking so much about leading with the business, it opened my eyes to like making sure I'm not overlooking people that could truly benefit from this business, because I'm so focused on, well, I don't want them to think that, I just need them to be on my team for that purpose. They could really benefit from these products too, like that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that is a good point, because so many people that are working the business did not get in it for the business. Mm-hmm. And so just recognizing, and I'm in 2 book studies, so I can't remember which one we talked about it on, but last week I know that we talked about the fact that you don't necessarily see people struggling financially. People are much more willing to tell you about the pain that they have in their knee or the migraines that they're constantly getting, but very few people are going to tell you we can't pay our bills. And very few people are going to tell you we have big dreams, but the 40-hour 50-hour work days that we're putting in, both me and my husband aren't cutting it, so we're just not going to go on vacation this year. So, or we went on vacation, it's all on a credit card. Like, people don't know that. So to me, it's like, why not offer the business? As long as you offer it in a way that you're not attached to the outcome. If you can get to a point where you can detach from the outcome, to me, it makes perfect sense to offer the business in a way that they feel so comfortable to say no. And then you're like, oh, that's great. I'm so glad that I know that now. Here is what we do have. I don't know if you'd be interested in a great probiotic, but this is why ours is different. And then you can kind of transition into that.
I'm kind of torn 50-50 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's kind of like the same thing as when you're listening to them complain about whatever in their life or whatever they're going through, and you use that to kind of then, oh, we have this great whatever that's going to work for you. I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't feel like you can 100% always lead with it, just as the same as 100%, don't lead with the products. I think if you are building relationships with people and you hear little things come out, I think that's when you should get the kind of the cue of, okay, I hear her saying, like you said, oh, I used my credit card for my whole thing or whatever. And like, that's what that nugget you take and be like, oh, okay, I need to come at you at the business angle. Or when someone else they're not talking about finances whatsoever, but they're really talking about their gut. Like, I feel like in that sense, I would lead with the product.
Yeah.
And like coming as a person who, I had zero interest in the business at all. Like, I wouldn't even want anyone to present a business to me if I didn't even like the product at first, know? So I'm torn between that because I feel like they gotta like the product before they're gonna sell it.
Or at least know what it is.
At least know, yeah. Like, it'd be like, yeah, I tried that once or something.
Yeah. What I heard you saying, Ashley, is you have to be a good listener. And she talked about that a couple of times in these chapters, is you do have to be a good listener. Like, don't go into a conversation thinking, I'm gonna present the business. We're going to a play date. Like, here's exactly how this is gonna go down. Right. Like, go into it like, I'm gonna listen. Here's why I think this would be good for him or her, but I'm going to have a conversation and kind of see where the conversation leads. Yeah. Oh, she talked about going to Hawaii and wanting to do that. Oh, here's my in. Yeah. Like, she really wants to go to Hawaii. Well, I have a company that gives a Hawaii trip away every single year. Or, oh, like, I love coaching people. You do? I didn't know that about you. I've been able to coach, blah, 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 blah. So it's about listening to people and hearing what they're saying and what can benefit. I do also think, like, don't close your mind off to any, like, just because you wouldn't want to be approached in one way doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't. And I think, was that last week, she kind of talked about, like, don't encourage people to do the things that you did when it's not the stuff that we want them to do. Yeah. So, like, just be aware. I think Elizabeth kind of was alluding to the fact that, like, it kind of pointed out how much I don't offer the business. Mm-hmm. When I got that pit in my stomach when she said to, like, lead with the business, and it was like, whoa. But I think that pit is, like, kind of a little nudging. Like, maybe I need to offer this more than I do. Because that's definitely an outside the comfort zone place. And I like how Ashley said, it's not like, it doesn't have to be 100% one way or another. Hear your people, listen to them, but step over that little ledge of the box every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Pain points, I really, really liked that idea. Yeah. I think for me, because it makes me think about the person I tend to be a little like, I don't know, bull, like just go in and just start talking, but not actually think about each individual person. Like, I know they would be great, or I know these products would benefit them, but have I really thought deeply about why? And I put a little, go for it. What'd you say?
I was just gonna say, like, everybody's different, and so like what intrigued you and what intrigued Ashley and what intrigued Jessica might be completely different things. And so
Right.
like just the whole knowing your people and being willing to listen is gonna could be the like game changer.
Mhm.
You know, like if you start talking to them about something that doesn't speak to them at all, it could be a total turnoff, and then they're going to be shut down for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, I put a little question here, like, do you know what you're looking for? When she kind of gave a lot of examples of like, this is why you would be great, because you are this, this, and that. Have you thought about what makes somebody great at Plexus? What are the qualities that you're looking for in someone to join your team? And they don't have to possess all of those qualities at all. Like, you're not looking for the same cookie cutter person, but have you thought about some of those qualities? Because like Elizabeth said, what's great about one person isn't necessarily the same thing that makes somebody else great at this business. So even just listing out some of those qualities, so that as you're talking to people, it's just kind of like, oh man, she cares for people so well. I've never really pointed that out to her. I've never thought about how good she is at caring for people. Or I've never thought about how much he likes to motivate people. Like, that's so needed in this business. So just kind of like thinking about those qualities and what makes someone great at this. Okay, so
I like when she said you don't want to be a prospecting slut.
yeah.
I think that goes along with what I said to begin with.
I mean, in her conversations here, like just revisiting these conversations, throw a little Post-it note on the pages where the conversations are, underline them, because they're pretty flawless, and they're just good to practice. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to try and track her down and see if she has any YouTube videos, just so I could see it again and hear it. And
right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh, I bet she does.
I bet she does too.
And that's a great idea.
I started looking, but I couldn't remember her last name, and too many things happened at once. Ended up on another that was good.
No, that doesn't happen in anybody's life. Too many things happening at once.
Yeah.
I did like in Rule 13 how she kind of said, if people say no, then ask for the referrals. And sometimes I think this is something that we so often, when people say no, we just like don't know what to say next. Mm-hmm. And it's okay for people to say no. I like how she said, I ask for permission to continue. I don't just move into asking, like she asks for permission. It's not for everyone. I'd love to pick your brain about your network, since I have a feeling you likely know some people I could help. Do you have a couple more minutes so I can describe exactly who I'm looking for, and we'll see whose names pop into your head? Mm-hmm. Like, she's asking them if it's okay, if they have more time. At this point, they can say, no, I'm sorry, not interested in helping you. I don't think people would say it like that, but and she's planted the seed that some names are going to pop into their head. It's that like positive twist on words. Like, I'm sure you know somebody.
Mhm.
And you can make that sound more like you. Don't just copy her words if they sound nothing like the way you would talk. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to share in chapter 5?
Just not remembering not to try to convince people.
Mhm.
And that might also kind of bridge off of like not being connected to their response, but like understanding that no is okay and respecting that and not trying to, or even maybe they are interested and then they're just kind of like back and forth, wishy-washy, not fully making that commitment. But I have learned the hard way, and when you try and push somebody because you think that they could benefit from it, if they're not ready, it doesn't work because they're not going to take the products consistently. They're not going to have, they're not going to be invested in it, and it's just going to backfire.
Yes. And I just use that on some, I don't want to say like used it, but that terminology with people. I have a girl that's for over a year been wanting to do this. She messaged me 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I think I'm ready, and then decided she wasn't. And I just sent her a voice message and said, Pam, I totally get it. I do not want you to start these products until you're 100% ready, because I know if you start when you're not ready, you're not going to be as successful. And I know for me, I had to be 100% ready and in to get going. And I know that when that day comes, you know where to find me. And then just asked her, do you mind if I keep you on my list to share when there's specials going on or maybe a new product comes out that I think you might be interested in?
Yeah.
And so like, just be very open, authentic. That was one of her rules. Like,
Mhm.
we're not trying to convince people. We want people ready. Some people need to be pushed a little bit and need to just sign up. But some people, if they're not ready, it's just not going to go well. We've seen that where people buy the products and they like sit on their shelves for like 3 weeks. Like, you just spent $100 and some. Use it. Like, I don't get it. Okay. The one thing I did underline, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this, but at the bottom of 87, she says, never, I repeat, never let them make their own purchase. And I say I don't know how I feel about that because I work 40 to 50 hours a week and I have 3 kids at home. And plus, some people just want to do it on their own, right?
Yeah.
I think the takeaway from that is to say, like, if you're going to let somebody do it on their own, say, okay, that's great. Here's my instructions. I like to check back in on my people to make sure that the process went smooth. When do you think you're going to be making the purchase or signing up so that I can check back in with you to make sure that everything went okay? And then kind of putting that on them to say, well, I plan to do it this day. And then you say, okay, great. I'll check up with you the following day to make sure that the process went smooth.
Yeah.
I know some people that literally get on the phone and they sign everybody up over the phone, and that works great for some people. I hesitate to do that because I think if I did that, I'd have like 2 people under me because connecting schedules, I just don't know how that would work. But I think what she's saying is just if you aren't the one doing it, oftentimes it doesn't happen, or things go wrong and you don't even know that they went wrong until it's like weeks later and they're like, oh, well, I just couldn't get the website to work, so I just never ordered. It's like, wait, you tried? Oh my gosh, you were so close. Like, now it's 3 weeks later, they've lost that fire. So now you're like starting back from ground zero and probably -1 because now they think your website isn't easy to navigate.
Yeah.
So that I think that's my takeaway from that spot is like putting a day, a time that you can follow up with them just to make sure everything went smooth. For those of you that are available to literally get on the phone and do it for them or walk them through it, I do think that's a great option. Okay, chapter 6. She's interested. Now what? I loved the constipated funnel analogy.
I know. It was like perfect.
It just made me giggle. Okay, and this to me, like, I just wrote the note, like, it's all about a decision-making process, and you have to have a process. If you don't have a process here, I think this is where we kind of get like, constipated. Like, I don't know what to do. Somebody tell me what's supposed to happen next. They said they want it or they think they want it, and I don't know how to move them through this funnel. Yeah. The key thing that stuck out to me is when she said, like, you must keep control of the process.
Yep. And that's
Go ahead.
The beauty of the three-way call too.
Yes.
I know. I've heard about three-way calls, used it a couple times, but I think she really fleshed it out. It was like, this makes sense. Now I get it.
Yeah, and to me, this is a different three-way call than I feel like I was ever taught in the Plexus. To me, the three-way call was always after they signed up. Then you got on a call to kind of hash out their goals and where they wanted to go next and how we could best support them, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But I did not think of a three-way call like this at all. What did the rest of you guys think? That was one of my questions. What did you think about the three-way call?
I've only tried it a couple times and it's been failed.
So what about it failed?
The one lady was like, nah, I don't want to do this call. This little three-way thing. And then the other girl just never responded. Like, it wasn't a call, it was like a message.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, all right, we gave that a go. Maybe next time.
I think, and she mentioned this, I think it was in this chapter, I think for some people, they get intimidated and they think that you're bringing someone on the phone or into the conversation to try and convince them.
Yeah.
Which I completely could see that. Like, I even, because, again, I prejudge everybody. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to like totally think that I'm trying to bombard them and that I'm trying to hook them into something. But she had great tips, and I don't know what page it's on, but she like walked through that specific objection, I guess, when people are saying like, oh, well, I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
Yeah, it was good.
But like just kind of shutting that out. Like, I'm not trying to convince you if maybe this isn't even for you, but based on what I'm hearing or based on, again, like telling them what it is that you think they would either like about the products or the business. Like, I think you would really benefit from hearing what my friend has to say. And again, like, my friend, we're all friends, not talking about as like, oh, you want to talk to my upline or you want to get on a call with, my friend who's above me or one of the people who are above me, because then again, I feel like that screams like, I don't think I want to get on this phone call with you guys. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, and on 93, bottom of 92 and up into 93, she kind of talks about like, don't ask but tell them what the next steps are, kind of like, this is the process. We're trying to see if this is a good fit for you. The next step is to get on a phone conversation to get somebody else's perspective. And I think it's definitely in the wording there. I do still think that you're going to have a hard time getting some people on a phone call. Like, people don't like the phone anymore. It's only going to get worse.
Because when we used to try and do three-way calls after they joined, I feel like that was even extremely challenging because some people are like, nope, like, I am fine talking to you and that's it. I will tell you what I need to do if I have questions, concerns, just let me be. For some people that's just too overwhelming. But again, I feel like it's a good thing to present, and it just has to be done the right wording.
And people are going to still say no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think definitely that your upline or your business partner and friend needs to know their script. And you got to be on the same page.
Yeah, and I do think that is key. If you plan to do these, whoever you're doing them with needs to read chapter 6.
Yeah.
So if that means you take a picture, yes, if that means you just take a picture of every page in chapter 6 and say, here, please read these. I want to do them, but I want them done this way.
Yeah. When you have time.
Yeah.
Dear sponsor.
Yes, it's not that long. I really want to do these. I think it'll be beneficial for my business. And it doesn't have to be your upline. It could be a sideline friend. It could be someone that you think that person's going to connect with. So, like, we've done that before where I'm like, Lorelai, I don't think that me getting on this phone call with this person that Elizabeth knows is going to do much, but I really think they're going to find you interesting and respect your point of view. Can you get on this call? And so I think that's key too, of like knowing your audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a stay-at-home mom as an upline and you're trying to go after a huge business guru, like maybe you find a business guru, someone that works full-time and is like CEO of something, I don't know, something that they're like, well, yeah, this course this stay-at-home mom has enough time to do this business. Like, she's home all day. She has nothing to do, right? There's no laundry or dishes or kids. Like, clearly she does nothing but work her business. So coming from like a business person, try to find somebody maybe that they could even relate to a little bit, or a very seasoned upline. I do think that a really good challenge would be to try to set up one 3-way call in the next week. I'm just going to throw that out there, like, see if anybody bites on it.
Yeah.
And I do think they could be done through Messenger as well. We've done that before.
Don't
like,
refer to it as a 3-way.
Yeah, please don't. Can you get on this 3-way with us? No. Don't do that.
No.
But I think, like I said, I think it could be done through Marco Polo, Messenger. I don't know, text. I don't know if that would be the best. Because I think on Messenger, I would do like voice recordings back and forth. You could share pictures on Messenger along with a voice recording. So that would be an option too if people don't want to jump on a phone. But you would still follow the same kind of outline. It's just going to take a little longer probably. I really like the on a scale of 1 to 10. I like that verbiage.
Yeah.
To use no matter what. Like, hey, I know we've been talking for a while. On a scale of 1 to 10, like, how close are you? What do you think about this business? How excited are you for this business?
I use that in real estate a lot, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working with couples and you tell them to rate it independently. Yeah. It's like, oh, oops. Stop off here at the counselor.
Yeah. Here's my therapist.
Yeah.
But I thought that's really good verbiage. It puts, again, the ownership on them. So you're not trying to convince them to do something. They're telling you, well, I'm at an 8. Oh, you're an 8. That's great. Then you're just a couple steps away or a couple whatever conversations away from getting started. Like, let's do this. So at a 4, it's probably time to move on. And plus, I feel like it's an easy way for them to say no without having to say no. Like, I feel like we all know those people that just don't ever want to tell us no because they're great people. But if you say on a scale of 1 to 10, they can say a 4 and be like, I didn't have to say, like, I don't want to do this, but I clearly let her know that it was not, like, close at all. I don't know, does anybody else have anything from that chapter? Okay, let's move into 7. Chapter 7 is my absolute must share with anybody on your team who is working the business. I have this on Audible, this book, and I have shared it with pretty much every one of my level 1 business builders at one point or another. Like, you need to read this chapter. It will make you feel so much better about people saying no. And not really saying no, just objecting to certain parts of your business. What was, like, I don't know, eye-opening or freeing, or what part of this did you really like? Am I the only one that loves this chapter?
I like the asking clarifying questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like so easy, right? It made it so like, yes. Like, this is easy when people say, well, I don't have enough time. When people tell me that, I want to laugh. Like, you don't have time? What kind of time do you think I have? Like, think I just sit around and eat bonbons on the couch? So that's like so easy to say, well, how much time do you think it takes? Done. Then they can share. And truth be told, you have to want to make the time. So it's probably more that I don't want to make the time for this business. And that's okay. Because if you don't want to make the time, you're not going to be successful. Like, so that's okay. But a lot of people probably think that it takes 20 hours a week to work this business. And it does not. I really like on page 105, number 4, where it says, like, when people are objecting, it's the perfect opportunity to educate people about the business.
Mm-hmm.
It just helps us, like, kind of say, well, I know that that's what you think, but here's how it really works for us. And then you can have real conversations and talk honestly about the ins and the outs. What else do you guys have from this chapter?
I like where she's like, is this a pyramid? I've
Mm.
heard that actually like a couple times already.
Yep.
So I really like that. I was like, oh, I'm going to put that in my head.
Yeah.
Because her response was really good.
Yeah. And again, with this, I would jot down objections that you're getting or you're afraid you're going to get and say, okay, this is what I'm running into, or this is what I think people are going to say. How can I ask a clarifying question when it comes back at me? How can I, if I don't know an answer to something, like the pyramid thing, you may not have known what to say. You know, I mean, it's not a pyramid. We have a perfect team example of that. Carissa is above McKenna as far as rank, but is under McKenna as far as like levels. So it is absolutely not our pyramid's falling over if it's a pyramid. The feel, felt, found is a favorite of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that method to me is so easy to duplicate. Like, just so simple. I understand how you feel about caffeine or weight loss or whatever. Like, I used to feel that way too. Or I understand how you feel about network marketing. I felt that way. I was the first one to mentally bash anybody that was doing network marketing. I never said it to anybody's face. I didn't blast them on Facebook, but I mentally ripped them to pieces. So I get it. I know how you feel, because I felt like that too until I understood exactly how network marketing worked and saw that it's a great way for people to earn money from home by helping their friends. Another thing, Elizabeth kind of touched on this earlier in the other chapter, like, this is not to get defensive. Do not get defensive. We are not convincing people to do this. We're giving them information and letting them make a decision. That's all we're here for, is to give somebody the information and then let them make a decision. When you share about your favorite meal at Chili's, you're not trying to convince them to go to Chili's right then. You're giving them the information about the great dinner you had at Chili's, and then they're going to make the decision like, oh, well, that really did sound good. I'm going to go there. You're not throwing them in your car and driving them there. You're just throwing it out there. They make the decision. Anybody have anything else there? I would honestly suggest that you like put a reminder in your phone like every month to 2 months that says chapter 7, get over your darn self, so that either you reread it again or share it with somebody on your team.
Yeah.
Because like this is good information now, but we will forget it. We'll probably start using it, but then we'll forget what it was like before we started using these techniques. So like as you have new people join your team, you can kind of share this with them, and it will just help their transition into objections smoother. Okay, last chapter. She's just not that into you, or is she?
I like the line where she says, they don't know what to do next. They're not being asked to make a decision. At first I was like, I felt like that was me. Like, I don't know what to do next.
Yes.
But that's true. It's like then everybody's just kind of waiting. Like, who's going to say go? You know?
What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, like sometimes we're afraid to ask people, like, because we want them to just tell us, like, okay, I'm ready. But some people are just sitting there waiting for you to ask them to start.
Yeah.
And so we have to be willing to accept rejection. Because I think that's what holds a lot of us back from being like, are you ready? Because we don't, like, I don't know if you guys do this, but I will send those messages and then like, can't look at Messenger tonight. I don't think I'm ready for the no. Like,
or that you see they responded and you're like, I can't read it. I just can't read it.
Are they going to say yes or no? Do they still like me? Like, no. I mean, that's where it's just like we have to detach from that, because what if they said yes? Like, what if they are ready to make a health change? What if they're literally just waiting for you to say, here's my link, sign up now? Like, I would use some more gentle words than that, but some people are literally just waiting for us to ask them. Like Lorelai, this is a Rodan and Fields reference, but I mean, you guys know, a lot of you know Lorelai. Like, how many friends did she have? Tons. How many Rodan and Fields people asked her to purchase Rodan and Fields from them? None. She wanted Lash Boost, and nobody, she's like, I want somebody that's going to ask me for my business, because I want to support somebody that's also actively working their business. Lash Boost is not cheap, number one. So that would have been a huge sale for somebody, but nobody was willing to ask her. Now I guarantee she probably knew at least 20 Rodan and Fields reps, and not one asked her. So how many people are on our friends list waiting for us to ask them to purchase ProBio 5? or to purchase the kids' vitamin. Like, well, I'm going to keep going to the store and going to Target and buying this because if she doesn't ask me for the business, like, I don't need to support her. So we have to be bold and brave to ask, but detach from the outcome. And she talks about that like on 113. If you have enough people in your funnel, you can easily detach. It's when you have 3 people in your funnel and it's 2 days before the end of the month and you know you need to sign 2 of them to get Consistency Club or to Earn Leaders Retreat or whatever is going on that you're like, I need 2 of them. They've got to say yes. If they don't say yes, I'm not going to get it. Like, been there, done that, probably for every contest. Yeah. If we just all had our funnels full, you would not care as much what people said because you would say, it's okay if she says no because I've got 10 other people that are interested in this. Surely I'm going to get 1 or 2 of these 10 people. I feel like that is like huge and totally, I'm still failing at that 3 years in.
Like we need to be filling our funnels now for next year's Leaders Retreat.
Yes. Yes, you do. And you never know. The thing is corporate comes out with something typically every month.
Yeah.
Every month. Okay. Well, if you decide to start talking to people when the incentive or whatever comes out, it's probably too late. Or you're going to have to be talking to people 20 hours a day because that's how much conversation has to happen before people are ready to purchase. So then you get burnt out, right? Because you've been going so hard to try to earn something. Whereas if you just kept your funnel constantly full with a couple people, 3 to 5 people a week, 3 to 5 people a day, depends how much time you're devoting to your business. But if you just kept it consistent, you would not be burnt out. You would never feel that pressure of trying to earn a contest or trying to get that last person and it's like 10:03 and everybody's going to bed and you still are looking for one and now you can't sleep because you finally got the one and you're so excited. And I mean, just that roller coaster of the end of the month. I also like the second thing she said was let go of the fear of losing what you don't have.
Yeah.
You never had them to begin with. But we count our chickens early. Me, I count my chickens all the time. They said they wanted it. They messaged me. They're ready. They don't want it till they buy.
You get that message from somebody who actually reaches out to you like, hey, so what is this pink drink? And all of a sudden it's like, yes, like somebody wants this, somebody's interested. And then like 6 months later, they're still like just hanging out.
Haven't purchased.
My one who reached out to me who took 2 years to buy is my silver ambassador.
Yeah, you never know. And that's the crazy thing. But I think the point is you can't get so attached to that one person. You just have to have that constant funnel. It will feel better to your people as well, because I guarantee my people can sense my desperation here and there. I try to mask it, but I'm sure they can sense when you're messaging people at 10:15 at night, they're probably like, dang, girl needs a sale. Like, so, like, we got to just keep them in the funnel. We always have to be talking, being consistent. She says 3 to 5 new people a day. Figure out your number. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what she does full time. If you want to grow your business at a steady, consistent, somewhat high pace, yes, 3 to 5 a day is great. But if 1 to 2 a day is where you're at, just be consistent in whatever you're doing. Yeah. You have to have consistency. I liked her verbiage when she said, like, you've done the 3-way call, but she still won't make a decision. Thought that was some good stuff in there when she's like, I sense that there's something keeping you from jumping in. Let's talk about that. So, like, let's address the elephant in the room. You're clearly not signing up yet. So there's got to be a reason. Like, go ahead, lay it on me. It's okay. Like, be the one that they can kind of talk to about that stuff.
And the yellow personality in me was screaming through some of that of, yeah, but you've got to do it this way. You got to soften it a little.
Yeah. And make it your own.
Yeah.
For sure. 100. You can tell she is a red personality. She is a bull. She goes in there. She does what she needs to do, and she gets out. She's learned to soften her redness because she does have some softer edges. They're still not yellow. But you can tell she has learned to soften her redness a little bit. And you might need to redden your yellow a little bit. I mean, we all gotta kind of, okay, yellows are so good in so many ways, but sometimes they need that little bit of directness so that people know how to sign up. Because that's what will happen with yellows, is they'll just keep going back and forth, and everybody's so happy, but this person's wondering why they still don't have any ProBio 5 in their hand. It's because the yellow didn't ask yet. Like,
Right.
We all need a little bit of the other colors. I did like on the top of page 118, she said, this is obviously going after somebody for the business, but she said, I must ask you, do you believe you have what it takes to do this? And that is so powerful because most people do not believe in themselves. They were told at some point in their life or several points in their life that they weren't good enough. They believe it, and now they don't think they can be successful at anything other than a 9-to-5 job where all they have to do is show up, punch a clock, and leave.
Yep.
And we want to show people that they are more than that. Nothing wrong with a 9-to-5 job, but we want people to believe and to see in them what most of us see in them, is that they can do more if that's what they want. I also am a big proponent of taking it away. When you're just getting ghosted and there's nobody responding, just take it away. Bob Heilig, I listened to one of his trainings on this a while ago. But like, if you're getting nowhere, don't be afraid to say, okay, Mary, it's been a long time since you've responded. I'm guessing that now is just not the right time for you, and that's totally fine. I don't want this to step in on our friendship at all. I value your friendship way more than a sale in plexus or a probiotic or whatever word you want to put on that. I know that when you're ready, you'll come back to me, and then just kind of move on. Like, I saw you went to the zoo this weekend. That looked so fun.
Yeah.
But I always tell my team to close out the conversations.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's really awkward when you like run into them at the grocery store or at the gym or wherever, and you're like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact. Like, and with any of this stuff, like a lot of this we do through Messenger or text. So like run your scripts, feel free to like throw them in the thread and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about sending somebody, or this is what I sent to somebody and it really worked well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to me, that's what we're here for. Anybody have anything else?
It's good stuff.
Really good stuff. It's even better when it's put into practice. So to me, that's kind of like the big challenge for the week, is to put people in your funnel. Write down a number. How many people are you going to talk to in the next week before we meet again Monday night? How many people are you going to commit to talking to about plexus? Perhaps it's per day. Maybe you sit down and say, okay, Wednesday I'm going to talk to 2. Thursday I'm going to talk to 1. Friday I'm going to talk to 2. Saturday I'm spending the day with my family. Sunday I'm going to talk to 1. Monday I'm going to talk to 2. Whatever it is, like, but make that commitment to yourself. Because we can do, again, all the book studies in the world, but if you don't start putting this stuff into practice, it's not going to help. And you're just wasting your time reading a book. Like, I mean, it's not a waste because I like to see you here. So I guess you're getting some social interaction. But I like put a number on it.
Yeah. You're trying to take it away from us, aren't you?
I mean, put a number. Like, this is where accountability comes into place. And I would say, like, accountability partners are huge. But at the same point in time, if you're not willing to do it for yourself, then who are you willing to do it for? Like, you decided to do this book study because I assume you wanted your business to grow and you wanted to grow personally. So now it's when you gotta put up or shut up. Are you gonna do it? Or are you gonna choke? Like, do it. Don't waste your time. The Bears wasted their time last night. They put up for 3 solid quarters. And then they went home with a loss. Like, don't do that. Follow it through. See it through to the end. It's only 4 weeks, guys. Like, what's going to happen when we're done with this book study? If you're not willing to do it while you're, what was that, Mary?
We're going to be Chiefs fans because they put it all out there and they won big.
Yes, they did. But honestly, when the book study's done, then what? Like, we got to start the practices while it's fresh, and then it should continue. So, okay, so we'll read the next 4 chapters. So we'll go 9, 10, 11, 12. Same time, same place. Next week. And like I said, just start to put this stuff in practice.
Yeah.
Write down a number that you can commit to talking to and start the conversations. And if you need help, reach out to the thread. Oh my gosh, this is what they said back. I don't know how to respond. Like, we're here to help you. So you've got a support system in place.
Good deal.
Okay.
Have a good
Thanks.
weekend.
Yes, you too, guys. We'll see you next week.